there are not a lot of women who are energetically up to par, like that are really stepping into their power. Very rarely do we hear about what happens on the opposite end when you are a very powerful woman. You harness a lot of feminine energy, you harness a lot of sexual energy, and how it affects men when they are not up to par energetically. And I can speak of this from experience because it's pretty much happened to me with almost every relationship that I have been in. Yeah, so let's go on ahead and get into it. So let's talk about the energy of a high vibrational woman and what that looks like, okay? There are women who they vibrate so high that you are not just dating a man. You are activating their energy. And in activating their energy, you are essentially exposing them. You are exposing the low vibrational energy that they carry. So when you have naturally high vibration, that energy is like a mirror. And it doesn't only just reflect who that man is, but it will amplify whatever is already inside of him. So if he is a man that is stable, he's ambitious, he's in alignment, your energy will be able to elevate him. But if he is weak and if he is insecure or living out of integrity, and you're a high vibrational woman, your presence is essentially going to shake his foundation. And that's when the downfall happens with this man. And I'm going to give you guys a few occasions on how my relationships, my past encounters with men, how this has happened in my own personal life. You are a catalyst when you are a high vibrational woman and you are around weak men. Your energy is either going to force the man to level up or fall apart. Because, see, I always meet men when they're doing well. I don't meet the man that has no job. I don't meet the man that doesn't have anything going for himself. This is where a lot of women go wrong. A lot of women will just, they will meet their match energetically. So she may have a job, she may have a house, she may have a car, but energetically, she's vibrating very low. And so that makes her be attracted to the man that has no car, has no job, at the bus stop, thinking that she has to build a man up. I've never done that. I've always been with men that have had their shit together. And then as soon as I get with them, they lose their job. They get laid off. Their business starts failing. Things start happening to them not too long after I get involved with them. And it's very easy to think that, well, I'm the common denominator in this, so it must be something wrong with me. I must be the one that is ruining all of these men's lives. Or if you're watching this and this is happening, you may be thinking that. That is not what is happening. Okay? That's not what is happening. What essentially is happening is that nothing weak can survive in the presence of true power. Okay. You have to always remember that. In high power and high elevation, nothing weak can survive there. This is the reason why they say it's lonely at the top. It's lonely at the top because only so many people can ascend and go through what it is necessary to get them to the top. So when you are vibrating very high, you are essentially filtering, your energy is filtering through people to see who can withstand the test of time in your energy, right? So your energy is purifying in a way. It's a cleanser, it's a filter. So it will burn away a lot of illusions. And there are some men that simply cannot take the heat when the veil is lifted, when the mask is taken off. So I have 3 examples of how this has happened in my life. Okay. So there was one man that I dated, and he lost his job like not too long after we had got in a relationship. And like, he was making great money. He was very generous. He was spending money on me. And he lost his job out of nowhere. And it took 9 months for him to be able to find a job. 9 months. And this was back when I was maybe 24. I was very, very young. But it was a direct reflection of his instability. And then you want to know what's even crazier? He could have gotten a job a lot sooner, but he liked to smoke weed. He liked to smoke weed. And so essentially what he would do is he would use his brother's pee to go pass the drug test or whatever. So this was his first opportunity to be able to get a job, his first callback, because he was a blue collar man. He was a blue collar worker. He liked to smoke. He used his brother's pee. And mind you, this man has been doing this shit for 10 years. He's been doing this for 10 years, and he's been able to pass the drug test every single time. Every single time for 10 years, because he was older than me. He takes his brother's pee in, and it's not to tempt. He had a whole system. He's been doing it for so long. He had a whole system. And his system failed him with the first job offer that he got after 9 fucking months. And essentially what that was a reflection of his instability. That was a reflection of his low energy. My presence didn't cause it. I didn't go and prepare the pee for him. I didn't go in the bathroom stall and pee for him and give him the pee and do stuff like that. I didn't do any of that. And this has been successful for him for 10 years. It essentially just sped up the inevitable. When you are high energetically, all it's going to do is expose shit right away. How your future is going to look right away with this man, because it's a test. It's a test, and it's a way for you to see how are they if they lose their footing. Because when you're a powerful woman, you're a mirror. You're the test for everyone, right? You're going to make people question their values. You're going to make people question what they're doing with their life, with their trajectory, with their productivity, with them achieving their goals. You're going to be the one to make them question those things. And so with your energy, you're putting them in a predicament where they are forced to have to find their footing. Then I had another guy, my ex-boyfriend. He has a business, right? And not too long after we were with each other, his business started failing. He ended up having to owe a lot of money in taxes. And I tried to warn him. I was so nice that I was going to use my divinity, and I was so nice I was going to use my intuition to try to help this man, because I knew the family member that he was doing business with was a snake. It was his cousin. And he said, oh yeah, my cousin wants to be a part of me with the business. He has a business of his own, and he wants to become a part of my business. And I said, I don't think you should do that. I think that's a very poor business decision. Blending business with family is usually not a very good decision at all. And then just based off of his cousin's track record, I didn't feel comfortable with him getting in business with this person. And he's like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You know, no one knows my cousin like me. You don't know him. You'd have to meet him. Just yada, yada, yada. Same old, right? And so essentially, his cousin knows the person that was doing my ex-boyfriend's taxes. And essentially, his cousin and the guy that does his taxes pretty much hid it from my ex-boyfriend that the place that he bought had owed like a ton of money in back taxes. Like, I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars in back taxes. And I was like, and you mean to tell me that's the person that you were going to go into business with? You mean to tell me that you were going to go into business with someone who was pretty much hiding the fact from you that your business, you owed all this money in back taxes for business, and then had the nerve to, once he found that out, he wasn't going to tell you, and then all of a sudden he doesn't want to be in business with you anymore. You've now decided, oh, he's not going to be a good business partner. And I tried to tell you. And then I tried to give him advice on how he needs to run his business to be able to make money. And he didn't want that advice. He was stressed. Things weren't working. He couldn't figure out why. But I was able to. He was out of alignment. He had been cutting corners. He had been doing things, not having enough foresight, not enough integrity. And my energy of him just being there was enough to expose all of that. And it was only a matter of time before his foundation had cracked. And then there was another guy. So I actually knew this guy through mutual friends. Honestly, I had no intentions of being serious with this guy. Okay. It was just a fling. Honestly, it was just a fling. Did not take this guy seriously or whatever. So we were intimate at one point or whatever. And he tells me, because he was obsessed. He got very obsessed with me. He got very possessive with me, and we had only slept with each other one time. And I already had known that, okay, I can't deal with this man ever again, because I didn't even pull out all my best stuff. And he was like getting crazy obsessed with me and trying to be like in competition with my friend or whatever. So I didn't want to deal with him anymore. And he was literally begging me. He was offering to pay my bills. He was doing anything. He was like begging. And so eventually, he had told me he would always say it because he was trying to play the game, essentially. This is what he was trying to do. He was trying to play the game and try to make it seem as if he could cut me off first, and he figured that I was going to run after him. And when I didn't run after him, and when his plan didn't work, it made him want to chase after me even more, because he realized that his plan didn't work. So I didn't chase after him. So he was getting more and more desperate to get an attempt to gain me liking him, gaining my validation, et cetera, et cetera. And so he said, you're so bad for me. Like, I know that you are bad for me, but I still want to deal with you. I know that you are not good for me, but I still want to deal with you. Men tell me this all the time. They tell me this all the time. They like my energy, but they cannot live in it. Most men cannot live in the energy that I bring, because you have to be a very high level person to be in this energy. I have a lot of strong energy around me. And so he's like, yeah. And he was like, I never wanted to tell you this, but he was like, after we were intimate, I broke out in hives. I broke out in hives. He's like, I've never broken out in hives before. That was his own body rejecting me. And he still did not want to fucking leave me alone. He was like, I knew something was wrong when I broke out in hives, and I still wanted to deal with you. His body was rejecting my energy. And it's not because I was toxic. He did not have the ability to be able to process my energy. So when things are going wrong, when things become very catastrophic in other people's life, it's not because you're toxic. It's not because you're toxic. It's because they cannot live in your energy. It's too high. It's too high. So the next